Hi there, and welcome on the journey to transform culture. I'm Steve, and today I'll be guiding our discussion. Well, folks, I hope you're having a fantastic day and an even better week. Today, our topic, folks, is going to be one of praise. Think about that for a minute. Praise, as we often do to preface this conversation, is that praise, just like any topic that we talk about here, we kind of jump in at the organizational level because we mostly congregate there in the largest mass within culture anyway, right? Plus, we're trying to achieve a common goal on a regular day-to-day basis, hopefully. So that would mean, right, that as we were discussing this, though, for its impact, uh, for you to take these nuggets and to apply them as you will within your own structures, that that can also apply within the broader culture, also in other community organizations. Could be family, could be your own personal relationships, right? And that's for you to decide and to apply and to marinate on, right? And so that it makes sense for you, so that the dots connect for you in the way that they should for the best outcome, right? So everything is obviously driving toward the best outcome. We want everybody to succeed and thrive, right? Uh, we lose. If anyone's losing, we're all losing. If everyone's winning, we're all winning. I know that's a hard one for people to take, but especially in a world where, clawing your way to the top for so many in the civilian world means I need to divide and be derisive towards my competitors or toward those I'm competing with within an organization. That's actually not the road we want to go down, right? So within all things, we're trying to unite the team. We're trying to build cohesion, trying to get the results, hopefully great results we're looking for. All right, so let's get started. Praise. If you take praise back, and you think about praise, if you go back in time far enough, there's a time in, let's say, old school. You go back a generation or two ish, and you'll find that praise wasn't often given out, right? Whole generations of people were pining for praise from their parents, from their teachers, from their employers, right? Working their little elbows to the bone, right? To find praise, to get praise and to be appreciated. So many people live their entire lives and not had praise from, say, from their family or from their friends or whatever, their community, when they do all kinds of amazing work. So this praise thing can have a preload, right? You can see where, on the one hand, in current times, hopefully it makes sense to you that praise is valuable and important, not superficially to be used superficially, but genuinely, right? But that praise is leads to good things, right? Leads to better cohesion, uh, higher engagement, better results, right? More safety. So, people are safer, right? All kinds of good things come from that. But if you go back, that lack of praise and falling flat on praise found its way into the culture of organizations to such an extent that most successful companies wore an overly stoic face when it came to praise, seeing praise as a sign of weakness. Well, they're getting paid, I pay them, they do good work, and we go home. Now, on its face, that's true, right? There's nothing untrue about, yes, you pay them, they do work, they go home, you go to work, all the things, right? But are you getting the best performance out of yourself, right? This isn't just about the team, although it is, but are you getting the best performance out of the team and yourself? Really, if you think about it, if you're withholding praise because you were conditioned that, well, praise is weak or that sort of thing, then what happens is that a team who doesn't feel like they'll ever be, appreciated, because that's really what we're talking about, right? The praise really is appreciation for the work they do. It doesn't mean they all have to have gold medals every month, but you might have an award system, right? It might be a parking situation. It might be a situation where you have, certificates most improved, or all kinds of things, right? People who achieve their training, all kinds of things you can go through and create an awards system for, right? Now, the challenge here with some is that, well, if I'm praising, then what that means is that I can't, if I give awards or certificates and that sort of thing, that I can't give them to everybody. And if everybody's getting a trophy, so to speak, does it lower the value of the trophy? Well, yes, it does, right? So, but we're not talking necessarily about just awards. Those are great to have, right? Those are great to do, quarterly and so forth. And those should just be an added little flavor, right? But the thing that is very important is, what are you doing on your day to day? If you're a manager, a leader at any level, you should be doing your daily Gemba walks. You should be doing your Gemba walks, and you should be checking in with your team, their progress, their performance, all these things. Obviously, if they need resources, that's a no-brainer. But you should be checking in, not only for the work and all of that, but checking in on your team. How are they doing, right? Take a bit of an interest in the individuals that are working on your team, right? So be a little more engaged. We want to develop and cultivate our humanity, right, within our organizational culture. No different than what we would want in regular culture, right? It doesn't matter. And this is another thing that's, interesting, is in culture today, all of culture, there's a variance. We have a variance of ethnicities, a variance of race. We have a variance about just about everything, right? And if there are those folks who are harboring any kind of resentment against, say, older employees versus younger, older, professional versus not, I would say not professional, but professional versus, skilled workers, and in general, right, workforce that just come on board, his first job, or that sort of thing. Then, if you're holding a bias in those arenas, do you think that you're going to be withholding of praise? You got to be aware of this when you're giving out praise, because subtlety matters. If you're going around and you're praising only people that you identify with, right? Now, this is, that slippery slope of special treatment. Nobody should be getting special treatment, right? But you got to be careful, because your language, are you only checking in with certain people, right? Are your biases kind of coming to the surface? And are you aware? Are you self-aware that this is happening? I'll give you an example. I came up as a basketball player and other sports too, and then I coached basketball and whatnot periodically through my career on my own time. But yes, sports was a way for me to connect with some of the employees, right? But the thing you have to understand, if you're a leader, is you have to pull from all of your experiences. There are people who worked for me who, say, weren't involved in sports, but they like to go hiking, or they liked other things that I could identify with, right? If they identified with different hobbies and interests. And if they had never done that, I would listen to a short snippet on their experience, right? What did they do over the weekend? Oh, we went and did this thing and that. Wow, that is amazing. I've never done that. I've always thought that's interesting. Legitimately and genuinely, not superficially, just to bond superficially. Because I'm telling you what, folks, your team will see right through superficiality, right? If there isn't a genuineness there, if your praise for, just appreciating their engagement in life, enjoying life. It could be that their son or daughter graduated from school, or whatever it is, right? All the things that happen throughout life and throughout the year and so on. Anniversaries, all these things. There's got to be a level of praise, right? Even excitement. It doesn't always have to be like, hey, that's fantastic that you did that, or whatever. It can be in all kinds of aspects, folks. Remember, this is about engaging with your team. You're trying to build cohesion. And you can't build cohesion if you don't have a genuine interest in people, right? And in their successes and in their adventures, right? And in their passions, right? And sometimes showing interest in their struggle, right? Being an ear to their struggle, being a mentor, sometimes taking off the praise hat and just slipping on that mentor hat to listen and then be willing to offer up uh, uh, normal mentoring where appropriate, right? But the praise then becomes, you know what? I appreciate that you're straightforward and you're always forthcoming with me, and I appreciate and value your honesty. What do you think about what we've got going on? Say they're a newer member of the team. Oh, I think this is, good, and this I don't understand this. Hey, that's a good point, right? Because that's the other thing is valuing their honesty, right? Praise, all of this stuff links, folks. None of these topics and the things we talk about aren't connected. They're all connected. This is what becomes it's a little bit of a labyrinth, but it's kind of a good labyrinth, right? We have all kinds of arteries and vessels and all the things that make up, the human body, the brain, the body, the heart, all the things. And this is a lot about us as people within our organizations. We are very, we as humans, we are very complex yet very simple simultaneously, right? We appreciate the simple good things in life, right? Not to say we don't appreciate the extravagant things, we do, but it's the simple things, right? That a warm drink on a cold day, right? A fire on a cold day, whatever. The simple home and hearth things people appreciate, right? And then extrapolates out from there. So we can be very simple in our needs, right? And what we actually need, right? To be happy and joyful, and happy, I guess, is more of a pop culture thing. Content, to be content, and to have thriving lives. But we can also be complex, and that is things happen throughout your day that come at you from 360 degrees. And oftentimes you're not prepared for that. And that could put a tension on you. And that tension might rub tension on what? Past things that happened, right? I'll use the term that we hear often, triggered, right? Person could be triggered. Maybe they, had a tough time growing up and all the different things. Some of these things kind of rub people sideways. So you might see someone who's struggling in your organization and think they're not performing well because they don't like it here, or you can project a whole bunch of negative things onto that and not understand that they're going through a struggle that simple communication and opening the doors to communication would allow some of that to breathe, right? So that they feel like, hey, I have somebody I can talk to at work that you not even be talking about all that stuff, obviously, but you may be talking about other things and things they're interested in, and that keeps them in their sweet spot, keeps them on, on the road in their heart and mind, and hopeful, right? Hopeful. They don't have to be off in the weeds, looking at their past and all the different things that we can all struggle with. Keep them on the good-hearted road, right? Heart and head, and help them in that regard. Sometimes praise, folks, it doesn't have to be this, well, we have a very superficial award system and hopefully, and I do the thing, I check the boxes and I'm done with praise. Folks, be a good human, right? The first box you need to check as a leader is to be a good human. And how can we be a good human? We do our best. Obviously, we need to try to do our best. But we need to be aware. We need to be engaged. And we can't be afraid to give praise and show appreciation. All right, folks. Going to wrap that up. Try to keep this video tight, not too long for you today. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, it's important we hit that good green domino 3 to 5 times a day to uplift, motivate, inspire, and just encourage one another, right? That can also include praise. And when we do that and we're helping to transform culture for the better, we're also transforming ourselves, because if it's coming from the inside of us, right? If we're transforming, If we want things to transform on the outside, we have to be willing to transform on the inside. And we have to change our behavior, our approach to how we deal with our teams and how we engage with our teams and how we show a passion and give praise and showing the engagement on a daily basis. And you have to do that if you want to get not only results, right? Yeah, there'll be results to the bottom line, but you want results with your team. You want your team to have cohesion. If you're winning there, wins beyond that are right there in front of you. I mean, just right at your doorstep. All right, folks. Hope you have a fantastic day. Remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.